Hey guys, today we're going to be doing notes on percent of change. So let's go ahead and just jump right in there, okay? So starting with some vocab you need to know. Percent of change tells the percent an amount has changed or gone up or down. That's how we measure change. In relation to the original amount, okay? So we start with our original amount, we get our new amount, we figure out how much that actually changed, and then we will calculate the percentage in relation to that original amount. We really don't use the words percent of change very often, especially in our answers. You'll see it a lot in the question. But instead, we will be talking about percent increase, which is when the amount goes up, and then percent decrease, which is when the amount goes down. So when we calculate our percent of change, we write our answer as like, oh, it's a 16% increase, or it's a 5% decrease. So we definitely need the words increase and decrease to specify what direction that amount went up, like if it went up or down, okay? Have to have those words increase and decrease. There is a formula that we use for percent of change, okay? It is not going to be on a formula sheet, so you do need to have it memorized. So the formula is, you take the new amount, you subtract the old amount, okay? That's what you do first. Then you'll divide it by the old amount or original amount. Then you can multiply by 100. Multiplying by 100 will give us our percentage, okay? There's a quick way to remember how to, like, what order those numbers need to go in. So new minus original over original. You take the first letter, you got N-O-O, spells out the word no. Okay, so that's the order that you write it down in. New minus original over original, and then times 100. Let's try an example using this formula. So find the percent of change from 54 inches to 63 inches. Yep. So first thing I'm going to notice is that I'm going from 54 to 63. Excuse me. So those numbers are going up. When the numbers are going up like that, that is an increase. Okay? And with increases, our answers are going to be positive. So if you want to make a little note at the top of that problem, that it's going to be an increase and you're going to have a positive answer, you can just write increase and positive. Next thing we need to do is we need to find that information we need for the formula. Okay? So we need a new amount and an old amount. Our old amount or original amount is the 54 inches because that's where we're starting from. Okay? So that is our original amount, and then we're going to 63, so that 63 is our new amount. Okay? Highlight, circle, underline, and label these on your paper. It is very important. Okay? Now that we have that, we are going to write down our formula, because we always want to make sure we have the correct formula next to us. So you will need to write it down. It will be on the assessment and ask you to write down the formula as well as part of your work. So please write down the formula. New minus original over original times 100. If you want to write just N minus O over O times 100, you can do that. So you can abbreviate it just with the first letter. Okay? That works too. Once we have our formula down, we are going to plug in our numbers. So new was 63 and original was 54. Plug that into our formula. So we got 63 minus 54 over 54 times 100. So first thing I'm going to do is my subtraction, because I need to get that to be a single number. So I'll do 63 minus 54, and I'm just going to use Desmos for it. 63 minus 54 in the calculator gives me 9, so I write that on top of my fraction. Now I'm going to do 9 divided by 54. 9 divided by 54. Again, just do it in the calculator. That gives us 0.166, and you can just cut it off after 3 place values. after the decimal point, just cut it. You just need 3 place values after the decimal point. Cut it off. Okay? 0.166. Final step is we're going to multiply it by 100. So we, again, just put it in the calculator. So we get a 16.6% of change. But we need to actually specify what kind of change it is. Is it an increase or a decrease? Well, we already said that at the beginning. We wrote increase. Okay? So it's a 16.6% increase. Not sure why there's a little C there, but we'll just ignore it. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to read the problem. Find the percent of change from 68 people to 44 people. Well, if I'm going from 68 to 44, my values went down, so this is a decrease. And when I have decreases, that's going to give me a negative number. Okay, so I wrote decrease and negative at the top of my problem. Now I'm going to go through and label. My original amount is 68 people because that's where I started from. And 44 people is my new amount because that's where I'm going to. Okay, so I'm going to write down my formula. New minus original over original times 100. I'm going to fill in my numbers. So 44 minus 68 over 68 times 100. And now it's just putting it in Desmos. So I do my subtraction first. 44 minus 68 in Desmos gives me negative 24. Okay, now I'll do negative 24 divided by 68. I just put it in Desmos or on my calculator. And that gives me negative 0.352. Remember, just cut it off after 3 numbers. And now I'll multiply that by 100. And that gives me negative 35.2% of change. Now, we don't want it to say percent of change. We want to specify what kind of change it is. So, at the beginning, we said it was a decrease. So we're going to fill that in. So it's a negative 35.2% decrease. Now, decrease is telling us it's going down, and the negative side is also telling us to go down. Okay? We don't need both. We definitely need the word. We don't need the negative part of our answer, because we already said the word decrease. So we can just change it to be 35.2% decrease. That is telling us it's going down by 35.2%. All right. Example 2. In 2018, a company had a total of 40 employees. The staff in 2020 is now only 29 employees. What is the percent of change? And is it a decrease or increase? Well, 2018 happened first, so that's important, right? And then in 2020, 2 years later, so this happened second, I had only 29 employees. So my employee numbers went down. This is a decrease, which means my answer is going to have a negative. Okay? So 2018 happened first, so that is my original amount of 40 employees. And then 2020 happened next, or second. So that 29 employees, that is my new amount. Okay? We are going to write down our formula. New minus original over original times 100. And then we're going to go ahead and fill those in with numbers. So it would be 29 minus 40 over 40 times 100. We're just going to go ahead and put it in Desmos. 29 minus 40 goes first. You do that in your calculator, you get negative 11. Now we're going to go ahead and divide. Negative 11 divided by 40. You do that in your calculator, you get negative 0.275. And remember, just cut it off after 3 numbers. We'll multiply it by 100 now. We get negative 27.5% of change. Okay? Remember, they asked, is it a decrease or increase? Because we went down in employees, that is a decrease. And because we're saying the word decrease, we don't need the negative anymore. So 27.5% decrease is my final answer. Okay, now you guys are going to try this one on your own. First iPhone was released. When the first iPhone was released, it cost $49.99. The iPhone 11 was recently released and cost $7.49. What is the percentage change, and is it a decrease or increase? Pause the video, give it a try, then we'll go over it. Okay, so first I went from, so the first iPhone was $499, then for iPhone 11 it was $749. So that cost went up, meaning that is an increase. So my answer is going to be positive. So now, because it was first, the first iPhone was $499, so that is my original amount. And then they upped it for the iPhone 11 to $749, so the $749 is my new amount. We're going to write down our formula. New minus old, or original divided by original, times 100. And we're going to fill it in with our numbers. So $749 minus $499 all over $499 times 100. $749 minus $499, we're going to do in our calculator first. That gives us 250. Now we'll go ahead and do 250 divided by $499 in our calculator. That's going to give us 0.501. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply it by 100. We get a 50.1% of change. Okay? They still want to know if it's a decrease or increase, and we said the price went up, so that's an increase. So we're going to label it 50.1% increase. We have to have those words, increase or decrease, non-negotiable. Okay? Have to include those words. All right. Some fun facts. Example 3. In 1990, the price of gasoline was $1.15 a gallon. In 2015, the average price per gallon was $2.40. Find a percent of change, and is it a percent increase or decrease? Well, 1990 happened first, and then in 2015, later on, the price went up to $2.40, so that is an increase. My answer will be positive. Okay? Because 1990 happened first, the 115 is my original amount. And then in 2015, the price went up to $2.40, so that is my new amount. I'm going to write down my formula. New minus original over original times 100. Okay? Now that I have my formula, I'm going to go ahead and fill it in with the numbers. So 240 minus 115 over 115 times 100. I'll go ahead and do my subtraction first. 240 minus 115. That gives me 125. Now I'll divide it by 115. Again, just doing this all on my calculator. That gives me 1.068. Oh, sorry, 1.086. There we go. I just cut it off after 3 numbers. And it's okay that there's a number in front of the decimal. That's totally possible. Because when we multiply it by 100, we actually get 108.6% of change. It is very possible, and happens quite often in the real world, that the percentage will be over 100%. Okay? So just because you get over 100% does not mean you're wrong. You got it. You're probably fine. Okay? So, it is very possible. But the only thing left we have to do is figure out if it's an increase or decrease, because we need to label our answer that way. The price went up over time, so this is an increase. Okay? 108.6% increase. Alright, you guys are going to do this, try on your own. At Giant, corn cost 81 cents per pound last month. Now it costs 75 cents per pound. What is the percentage change? And is it an increase or a decrease? Well, last month happened first, and it was 81. And now, which is the second thing happened, it's 75. So 81 cents to 75 cents, that's going down. This is a percent decrease, which means my answer is going to come out to be negative. So, like we said, our old amount, or our original amount, was 81 cents because last month happened first. Now it costs 75%, so this is the new amount. Okay? We're going to write down our formula, new minus original over original times 100. So 70 cents or 75 cents minus 81 cents all over 81 cents times 100. We'll start with our subtraction, just doing it in our calculator. 75 cents minus 81 cents gives me negative 0.06. We're going to divide that by the 0.81, again in our calculator, and we get negative 0.074. Just cut it off after 3 numbers. Okay? Finally, we'll multiply it by 100. We get negative 7.4% of change, but we're going to label it with increase or decrease. And we did say earlier on this was a decrease in the price. So this is a percent of decrease. So because we're using the word decrease, we don't need the negative anymore. We can drop it and just say 7.4% decrease. Okay? That's it for the video today. I know you guys have 2 extra examples on your notes. We're not going to go over those because I think you guys have the hang of it. If you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.